The atmosphere surrounding the Armstrong camp has shifted dramatically. For months, fans have watched Matt Armstrong transition from a Leicester-based mechanic fixing flood-damaged SUVs to an international figure attempting to resurrect a $6 million Bugatti Chiron per Sport in Miami. It seemed like the ultimate evolution of the channel: bigger cars, sunnier skies, and higher stakes. However, sources indicate that this expansion has hit a massive speed bump, and the person applying the brakes is the last person anyone expected: Matt's father, Tony Armstrong. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the automotive community, Tony has pulled the trigger on a decision that could shut down the entire Miami workshop plan before it even gets off the ground. To understand why Tony has stepped in with such force, we have to look at what has been happening in Miami over the last few months. The flagship project, a wrecked Bugatti Chiron per Sport, originally owned by influencer Alex Gonzalez, has spiraled into a logistical and financial nightmare. While Matt is known for tackling impossible rebuilds, this hypercar has brought unique pressures. Unlike a standard salvage title, this Bugatti arrived with its VIN locked by the manufacturer. Bugatti CEO Mate Rimac himself publicly stated that the car could only be safely repaired at the Mulsanne factory, refusing to supply parts for an at-home rebuild. For Matt, this was a challenge to be solved with 3D printing and CNC machines. For Tony, who grew up in a world of spanners and practical experience, this reliance on unproven technology to fix a multi-million-dollar hypercar may have been the first crack in the facade. The recent discovery that the Bugatti shares parts as common as Audi A3 airbags and Aston Martin DB11 steering wheels was a fun fact for the internet. But for a father watching his son navigate the legal and safety minefield of Bugatti's corporate wrath, it likely felt like the stakes had become too high. The tension isn't just about mechanical difficulty, it's about the sheer weight of the financial exposure. Historically, Matt built his empire on a bootstrap mentality. He worked part-time jobs delivering food and working in tuning shops to fund his early builds. The garage in Leicester was a safety net. It was owned by Tony, a place where tools were available and advice was free. The Miami workshop plan flips that model entirely. Establishing a workshop in Miami, acquiring the real estate, and importing the specialized tooling required for a Bugatti V16 engine represents a capital outlay that is orders of magnitude higher than anything Matt has attempted before. While Matt's net worth is estimated to be between $1 million and $3 million, the assets he is working on, like the Chiron, are worth double that just in scrap value. Tony's intervention likely stems from a fundamental worry about liquidity. If a lawsuit from Bugatti regarding intellectual property or safety liability were to land on that Miami workshop, it wouldn't just risk the business, it would risk the family's assets back in the UK. Tony pulling the trigger is a classic old-school move, prioritizing financial preservation over high-risk growth. Digging deeper into the dynamic, this threat to shut down the Miami plan isn't just about money, it is a philosophical clash. Matt represents the new wave of automotive content, the influencer mechanic. His success relies on visual spectacle, the wow factor of splitting a hypercar in half, and the engagement metrics that come from battling corporate giants like Bugatti. Tony, on the other hand, is a traditional mechanic. His life was spent in garages where the goal was to fix the car right the first time, send the customer away happy, and avoid bankruptcy. In the reference material, we saw that Tony's role has always been the diagnostic anchor, the calm voice that points out the details Matt misses. But in Miami, Matt is flying solo, or at least with a team that doesn't include Dad. The surprise rebuild of the flood-damaged Aston Martin DBX for Tony worked because it was a gesture of gratitude. It was about family. The Miami Bugatti feels different. It feels like a declaration of independence. There is speculation that Tony views the Miami project as a distraction from the core business. The channel grew because viewers loved the relationship, the back-and-forth banter in a cramped British garage. A sterile professional shop in Miami risks losing that authenticity. When Matt decided to rebuild the Aston Martin DBX, he used a Mercedes GLC 63 block, and had a machinist named Bob hand-grind a timing tool because Aston Martin wouldn't sell one. That was charming in Leicester. In Miami, on a Bugatti, doing things the Bodge way might be seen not as ingenuity, but as a liability. What specific event made Tony pull the trigger? According to recent updates, the breaking point may have been the moment the team had to split the Bugatti Chiron in half to inspect the gearbox. While Matt saw this as a necessary step, using titanium bolts and modular design to separate the front tub from the rear drivetrain, Tony may have seen it as the point of no return. Imagine a father watching his son take $1 million supercar and physically cut it into 2 pieces on a lift in a foreign country, knowing the manufacturer is watching and disapproving. Tony has spent his entire career building a reputation for solid, honest mechanical work. Being associated with a chopped hypercar that might never run right again is a reputational risk he likely never signed up for. Furthermore, the discovery of the broken cast aluminum engine mount support highlights the severity of the crash damage. This isn't a dented panel, this is structural failure. Repairing that requires engineering certifications that a YouTube workshop simply doesn't have. We cannot ignore the personal history here. Tony raised Matt largely on his own after separating from Matt's mother when Matt was young. Their bond was forged in the garage. It was a partnership built on trust and mutual respect where Tony provided the wisdom and Matt provided the hustle. This Miami workshop plan effectively removes Tony from the equation. It suggests that Matt no longer needs the old man looking over his shoulder. The reference script talked about the quiet strength behind the builds, Tony's ability to step back. However, there is a difference between stepping back and being left behind. By threatening to shut down the Miami plan, Tony is asserting his stake in the brand. He is essentially asking, where do I fit in this new empire? If Matt moves to Miami permanently, what happens to the garage in Leicester? What happens to the dynamic that 6 million subscribers fell in love with? The question now is whether the Miami workshop can survive this veto. Matt has already invested heavily in the location, and the Bugatti is already in pieces. Turning back now would be a humiliating and expensive retreat. However, ignoring Tony's ultimatum could fracture the family irreparably. The only path to saving the plan might be a significant restructuring of the deal. Tony might agree to the Miami shop if he is given full operational control of the UK side, or if MAT agrees to a strict ceiling on the spending. Alternatively, Tony might demand that the Bugatti project be shipped back to Leicester, where he can supervise the diagnostic work himself. The reference script noted that Tony never behaves like someone looking for recognition. But perhaps that has changed. Perhaps watching his son take on the world without him has made him realize that he wants a piece of the future, not just the past. If Tony is threatening to shut it down, it might not be out of anger, but out of a desire to be consulted. He pulled the trigger to get Matt's attention, not to destroy his dream.